So, every time I go up to Connecticut to Guy Wolf's to make flower pots, I treat it as school. I treat it as my time to learn and to practice making flower pots under an expert. And when pots come out of the kiln that I've made, I look at every single one, and every now and then there's one that's just perfect, or that's a perfect example of what Guy has been trying to teach me. And I will set that aside and bring it home so that I can study it, so that I can actually look at it periodically and see what worked, what I did to make it as close as possible to what he was trying to show me to make, how to make. And these are the pots that I kind of prize. Well, this morning, as I was making my bed, I was putting the duvet, tucking the duvet into the end of the bed and fluffing it, and then I heard a crash. I was like, oh no, that crash sounded deadly. And it was, because the duvet hit the crystal ball, which is on a very delicate little stand on the side table, and the crystal ball fell to the floor, and it didn't fall on the floor, it fell into a stack of flower pots and broke this beautiful number 2 peel pot that I had brought back as the perfect example of what I had made of a number 2 peel pot. So, the thing I'm going to share with you today that only my closest friends know, like all my friends, that you don't know, is that I am extremely, extremely clumsy and accident prone. I break things all the time. And my friends that watch this happen on a regular basis have said, you know, people that don't know you very well would never believe that someone as meticulous and kind of delicate with crafts and art is as klutzy as you really are, because it happens everywhere, always. Very often in the kitchen, when I'm cooking by myself, something will, I will tap the wooden spoon that's resting inside a pot. I'll tap it with my elbow. It'll fly up in the air. Pasta sauce will go all over the wall and the cupboards before the spoon flips and lands on the floor, and then ends by creating a mess on the floor. This happens all the time when I'm by myself. And when my friends are with me, when I'm in Rhode Island and I'm cooking with Alexandra, she just, every single time while we're cooking, something will happen. Like I'll have the milk jug out, and I'll go to open it, like a fresh milk carton, and I'll pull a little too hard, and the thing will spurt out and milk will fly everywhere. And she just knows at this point, because it's been happening for over 15 years, she just looks at me and smiles and just shakes her head. And they all do this. They all know, Laura, Corinne, Christian, they've all seen me do it. It doesn't just happen in the kitchen. It happens when I'm out in public. Last week, I was at a little cafe in the West Village, somewhere I love going. It's very civilized. It's very classy. It's a classy joint, one might say. I ordered a matcha latte. I had my book with me. I had the iced matcha latte on the table, small, delicate table, and I dropped my napkin on the ground. So I bent to pick up my napkin, and all of a sudden there was a huge crash. I had put this hand on the table to brace myself as I leaned down. The table tilted over. The matcha latte, I didn't even see what happened to it, flew up in the air. It flew up in the air. This green, milky liquid went everywhere, including onto a woman's white coat who was sitting next to me, before crashing on the ground and flying everywhere. And it was extremely embarrassing. But I had to chuckle a little bit because I can't avoid it. a few weeks ago when I was in Connecticut. This is the worst, actually. I actually can't get over this. I've been trying to get over this, but I can't. For many years, when I go to Connecticut and when we have tea, we make tea in Guy's mother's Brown Betty teapot, a beautiful English teapot. It's like a classic. And he has talked about this teapot with such reverence over the years. He even mentioned it to a couple of English ladies when we were out for tea once. He said, I have the prime example of a teapot at home. It's my mother's Brown Betty. Well, this Brown Betty was kind of crazed, was cracking a little bit, and he took a risk and put it in the kiln and fired it, and it came back to life. All the glaze amalgamated. It looked like it was new again. So, picture it. Guy's house, 10:30 p.m. He's out running an errand. I'm in the kitchen alone. I think I'll do the dishes. As I'm washing this teapot in the kitchen, I said to myself, listen you, this is his mother's teapot. Do not break this teapot. If you broke it, the world would end. That's what would happen if this teapot were to break in your hands. So I'm washing it carefully with both hands. I set it aside. I wash the lid. I set the lid aside. Then I take a linen tea towel, pick up both the teapot and the lid, and I'm wiping them as I'm walking to the place where the teapot lives. And I think, see, look how it can work when you're careful, when you're taking your time and telling yourself not to break. And at that very moment, while I'm having this dialogue in my head, the teapot and the lid slip out of the towel in my hand. I catch both. I smash the lid against the edge of the teapot, and I'm like, no, no, no. And when I look, the lid is cracked and a chip is out of the rim of this teapot, which has survived for generations, even for the last 15 years since I've been going there. And I broke it. Why does this, why does this happen? I ask myself this all the time, and I think back to even when I was a little kid. I was the one who was always warned, don't spill your juice. I remember every weekend we would really spend it at one relative's place, Auntie Shanti and Palendarinchitapa, aunt and uncle, and their two kids were the same age as me and my sister. So we would be there, and when Auntie Shanti would be pouring the juice, she would say, Tambu, don't spill, for years. And guess what? Always. I would be eating and talking, and my hands would be moving, and I knocked the cup over and juice everywhere. I don't know what it is. I recently found out there's something wrong with one of my eyes, astigmatism, some curvature of the cornea or whatever. Could it be that? I wondered. Could it be that my mind is constantly thinking of the next thing, that I'm so excited, or I have this to-do list in my head constantly, because I have really thought about this. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. This is how I kind of mentally plan every day. Like, as of now, I know what I'm going to do after this, and then I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to practice harp, and then I'm going to walk to the harp practice, and then I need to get a cucumber on the way back home after the gym. Like, so I think maybe this klutziness is connected to a kind of rushing to get over the thing that I'm doing right now in order to get to the next thing. I think that in the artistic, creative practices, I do force myself to slow down, think. Every move must be thought about and carefully calculated, whether it's plucking a harp string or putting a stroke onto a canvas. But then these mundane things, like making the bed and washing dishes, those things I think, just get through it, hurry up. And that results in a kind of klutziness. It's funny to me. It's also very annoying. It's funny to all of my friends. And I just, this morning, why? This stack of flower pots has been sitting on the floor for over a month, and I've been telling myself, put this somewhere else. but it's a tiny apartment and I just have not put it anywhere else. So it's just been living there. And then this happened. There's that serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. To change the things I can. Something, something, something. Anyways, to accept the things I cannot change. I have really tried to change this, and it doesn't seem to be changing. So, my friends know. I warn them, should not be trusted with precious things like mother's valuable teapot. But that's something that it when I do laugh about it, it has been something that makes me very amused, because you probably wouldn't guess that. But that's the truth. That's what I'm really like. It doesn't seem to be changing at all. And I guess I just have to live with it. A secret that's now out. Now, that might seem like a lot, and it is, because you need a lot of coffee beans for one shot, a double shot of espresso. That's why a latte is like $5 in a shot, because it... we'll deal with that later. So, I got 34 grams of coffee here. I'm going to grind them in this coffee grinder. I'm going to grind them fine. Okay. Modern version of this bowl. Night and day to me. That is gorgeous. This is not. Okay. Oh my God. Well, I'm glad it was the new one. It was $18, that's okay. Never done that before. Okay, so you have to be really careful when you're holding things, because if you break it, like I just did, you gotta pay for it. I'm glad the new one was the one that I broke, which I have to go upstairs and pay for now.